Welcome back to the Reluctant Leader podcast, where we talk about overcoming obstacles, leading with confidence, stepping into the life God has for you. I'm Paul Jenkins, and today we're diving into something we all wrestle with, trusting the process. That space between where you started and where you want to be is messy, uncertain, and frustrating. But what if that middle ground is actually where the real growth happens? What if the struggle isn't a sign to quit, but an invitation to keep going? If you've ever wondered whether it's worth staying the course when nothing seems to be working, this episode is for you. So the first key to growing in the messy middle is surrender. Not giving up, but letting go of control in a way that frees you to trust God's process and timing. Here are 3 points to remember about surrendering to the process. Clarity comes in motion. Too often, we wait for the perfect plan before we take a step, but clarity comes as we move, not before we move. Think about Abraham. God told him to go to the land I will show you. Genesis 12, verse 1. The revelation came after obedience. Growth requires discomfort. Like a seed that's breaking underground before it sprouts, transformation often feels like destruction before it looks like growth. Let me say that again. Transformation often feels like destruction before it looks like growth. What feels like breaking is actually making room for what's next. And letting go of the timeline. We want instant results, but God works on an eternal timeline. Trusting the process means embracing patience, knowing that unseen progress is still progress. We've got to surrender. And the second thing the middle does is it helps us build resilience. It's where we learn what we're made of and, more importantly, who is making us. This is how we can strengthen ourselves in the waiting. We can refuse to let frustration lead. See, frustration's normal, but it's a terrible leader. When we let emotions dictate our choices, we make decisions based on fear rather than faith. So instead, anchor yourself in truth, not in temporary feelings. Learn how to embrace small wins. The big breakthrough doesn't happen without small, consistent victories. So celebrate your progress, no matter how small, because it builds momentum and it keeps you going. And when you're building that resilience, remember your why. When the road feels like it's so long and never ending, go back to why you started. Purpose fuels perseverance. If God called you to it, He'll carry you through it. Yeah, I know you've heard that before, but the reason you've heard it before is because it's true. And finally, the harvest is going to come at the right time. Every process has a harvest season, but it's so easy to get discouraged when you don't see results on your timeline. So here's how to keep going with confidence. Stay rooted in faith, not in outcomes. If your faith is only in the results, you'll always be on shaky ground. But if your faith is in God's process, you'll stand firm even when things look uncertain. Be open to unexpected answers. Sometimes God's provision doesn't look like what we expected, but it's exactly what we need. So be willing to receive in a different way what you had envisioned. Trust the principle of the harvest. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, and I love this verse, let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. The promise is clear. The harvest will come. Our job is just to keep showing up. In fact, according to that verse, the only way that we won't reap a harvest is if we give up. So, if you're in the messy middle, don't despise it. Embrace it. Growth is happening even if you can't see it yet. So keep moving, keep trusting, and know that the process is leading you somewhere greater. If this episode encouraged you, man, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And as always, keep stepping forward in faith. Remember, when we give God our yes, He'll take care of the rest. I'll see you next time.